we are going for a second resource management, that is processor management mechanisms. Okay, now here we have to see what exactly process means. Okay, so process means, like, say, whenever you are, say, when I asked you to write a C program, what exactly you are doing is you are writing a process. Okay, because that process is being submitted to the computer, and computer will execute that process. Okay, based on your instruction and your choice. Okay, so means, like, say, created a file of C program into an editor, you save it. So the time you save that program onto a disk, it becomes just a file, and then when you execute, it becomes a process. Okay, so process is nothing but it is a program in execution. So this is really very important. Process is nothing but program in execution, and it is a unit work of the system, and where program is an passive entity and process is an active entity. So which means that, see, whenever you are saying, like, whenever you say that, okay, I have a .c program, I have a .c program, then this program is stored onto a disk. Okay, then means what, like, whenever you want to execute, say for example, you write this program, you write this particular program using editor, right? You write this program using editor, saved it onto a disk. Okay, so this has a physical existence on user address space. So you have this particular C program onto user address space. This is user address space. Now, I hope you understand this particular term, user address space. Now, once you press, you are into editor, once you press, say, run, once you press compile and run, so the time the program is in run, when you are starting execution of the program, this becomes an active entity. Active entity. When you go for run, this becomes an active entity. Otherwise, till this particular moment, your program is just a passive entity. Okay, so there is a difference between active entity and passive entity. Active entity means when the process is in execution. Process is in execution. So for this particular process which is in execution, the handler is what is being done. The memory is being allocated, right? Memory is being allocated. Processor is assigned. And you're executing it. So handler for this particular process, active entity is processor. Okay, so this is processor. So processor is assigned, memory is allocated. So this is going to be an important part. So the handler will be the processor is the handler here. So this is very important. So process is nothing but what is a program in execution. Process is nothing but program in execution. So whenever you are asked to write a program, means you are writing a process. Okay, so what this particular process needs now, if you look at this requirement of process, so what process needs? Process needs CPU, process needs CPU, process needs memory, process needs IO files, that is input output. So this IO stands for devices, actually. Devices, right? IO stands for devices. Then it needs files, like for example, if your data is stored into a file, so you can write data as an input from file, or else if your process is writing some data, then you can have a data as a part of output also, right? So data as a part of output. So this is important. So data, so this data is stored into files. So you can store this particular data into files. Okay, as well as it needs initialization of the data. Whatever that is requirement is there, that is being initialized. Okay, process termination requires, okay, so but when I say this process requires some resources to complete this particular task, then this process has to enter into an agreement, right? So this process has to enter into an agreement. So whenever you need a resource, say for example, I wanted to I wanted to buy a home, right? Say for example, I wanted to buy one home, and for that I need an for doing that. What I'll do, I'll take a loan from a bank. So I'll enter with a proper agreement into a with a bank that if I'm not able to pay my home loan, in that case, bank reserves right to get my resource, get my home, right? So, so it is like this. So process means whatever the resources we are allocating to the processor has to release those resources once the completion of the work. So process termination requires reclaim of any reusable resources. Now here, reusable resources means the resources which are used, reused, right? So what are the resources? Those are reused. See, for example, the resources, those are reused to be like your files. Okay, so which means that, say, for example, I have a file, say this is data file one, I'll say. Okay, so my process is writing, say, 100 entries into this data file, the time it executes. Okay, and this data file is stored onto a disk. So next time whenever I execute the process, same process, this file is being reused. So means by next execution, again it will write 100 entries. So by next execution, it will write 100 entries, means composition is it contains 200 entries. Okay, so the files are nothing but reusable resource. Okay, so your IOs are again a reusable resource. IOs are also a reusable resource, means which is frequently used. Okay, so and since processor is in action, so processor is in that particular way. Memory is also your reusable resource. Okay, so it requires whatever the reusable resources are there, they have to release those resources, right? Whatever being allocated. Okay, now as I said that every process has certain data structure associated. So this is important part, that with every process, with every process with every process, there are some attributes associated. With every process there are some attribute associated. Out of that, the important is registers. Register, every process needs register, every process needs a stack. Okay, so this is like, right, and there are other parameters also which we will see in the next upcoming slides. Okay, so but you need to understand that whenever a process is in action, then then it needs certain resources, and those resources are being released the time the process gets terminated. Okay, so single threaded, there are two ways to design a process. So there are two ways to design a process, means what, like say single threaded. So there are two approaches. One is sequential. If you look at this particular mechanism, you will try to understand that there are two approaches to design a process. Two approach. What are they? First, you can have either sequential, and second is parallel. Okay. Now by sequential I mean they are single threaded system. Single thread. What they have only point of one point for point of execution. They have one point of execution. So in this case, you can say that, say a process which is containing, say, integer main, 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 integer main or wide main. So main is this only one thread which is going to execute. So single thread. So this is only get executed. So and this is being done sequentially. Sequentially means whatever the instructions that are placed in, they are executed one after other. Okay. So, but this is not the case in case of parallel. Parallel means what? It is a multi-threaded system. Multi-threaded system. So means what? You have multiple instances running, right? So this is like this is one process, two process, or one thread, two thread, three thread, four thread. So you can have these n threads that are being generated one particular process, right? Then there can again join into one stream, right? So this is called as fork, and this is called as join. That means what? From one single thread, you have multiple threads they are running, and they are independent. They are independent in nature. Okay, so that is this is the case. Okay, so they are independent. They can be based on shared memory, also can use shared data. Okay, so they can use shared memory as well as they can use shared data. Okay, so if you look at the single threaded process system has only one program counter specifying the location of the next instructions to execute. Okay, so the program counter you might have exposed with this term into uh, your microprocessor and interfacing or computer system architecture studies. Okay, so every program has a program counter, which is nothing but a counter which keeps a track of the instruction which is being executed. So this is important. And if you look at say with this particular process, there is one PC. With this single threaded system, you have one program counter here. This is one program counter, but see here it has its own PC program counter. This has own program counter. This has its own program counter. This also has its own program counter. Okay, so means with every multi-threaded system, each process has one program counter per thread. Okay, so every thread has one program counter. It's all threads are having the registers. All threads are having stacks and whatever the required process required attributes are there. So this is really very important that a process can be a single threaded process or it can be a multiple threaded process. Typically, system has many processes. They are being either owned by the user or they are being owned by the system. So if the system is owning certain processes, they are called as daemons. Right. So there are two levels of processes. One is user level, and the second is higher. Second is kernel level. Okay. So there are two processes particularly. Two processes. Two processes. One is say simple kind, user level, and kernel level. Okay. These processes are owned by system. These processes are owned by system as well as controlled by system. Whereas the processes owned by user, whereas it is controlled by system. Okay, these level processes are having high priority, and these processes are having low priority. Right? These kernel level processes are remains active. process are remains active in all the ways, whereas mm, in case of this in case of this, they are managed by system. Since they are managed by system, so their activation and termination is governed by system. Okay, so there are two processes kind of thing. One is user level and second is kernel. So the process can be, this process can be again, it's a sequential, or this process can be parallel. But it can be a user level, so user can also write a parallel process, user can also write a sequential process. The kernel level processes, those are owned by the operating system, so they can be either at the time of creation of the writing of the operating systems, so they are being decided whether the process is running parallelly or being running sequentially. Okay, so the example, they are called as here daemons, right? So this is important. They are called as daemons. Okay, so what we have understood is this: that process is a program in execution. It is a unit work within the system. The program is a passive entity, and the process is an active entity. For each process, we need some resources to be accomplished. Accomplish its task, that is CPU, memory, IO, files, and some part of initialization of the data. Every process which is holding the resource has to get into agreement with the operating system that they should release or reclaim the resources. Then you need to figure out what are the reusable resources, like files and IO devices, process and memory. Right, they are reusable devices, reusable resources. So this is important. Now there are two ways to have a processes. You can write those two process ways, that is as either a single threaded system or a multiple threaded system, right? So this is important. So we have learned this particular two approaches: single threaded and multi-threaded.